Hello and welcome back to another video episode, depending on whether you're watching this on YouTube or listening on podcast players. Now we are continuing our series and we're getting closer to the end. The series on city of a business, forest, school or outdoor business. So we've covered quite a few things. And the previous episode, of course, links to the full series is down below, or scrolling down on your podcast player. Previous episode or video, we talked about setting your rates. As key to set your rates before you start looking for clients, because otherwise you have no way of answering a client's questions regarding pricing, because that's one of the first things that comes up. Like, hey, can you do this session? Yeah, sure I can. And how much will it cost? Well, I don't know. What's a good price? You want to already have costs in mind and a rate for yourself, because that will determine who you go for. So in this video, we're going to talk about finding your clients. It's really marketing, which is a fancy way of saying reaching the people that you want for your program. So letting people know about the brilliant thing that you offer. And it's one of the hardest areas. It's the one that I reckon most of us wish we didn't have to do. And there probably will be a point where you don't have to do it if you're good enough. Over time, they'll eventually get to a point. But most cases, this is something you have to work on a long time, reaching your audience. And the real key here is to go back to our original first couple of outcomes, which is defining your offering and defining your audience. Now, the reason why these things are first is because they inform everything else. There's no point in going, okay, my target is inner city families, and then you set yourself up in rural Lincolnshire. You're not going to find your target audience there unless you bust them in, and then that's going to be a completely different pricing model and a different offering. So knowing who your audience is then helps you move forward. So going back to your customer avatar, your ideal person who you're offering it to, you then need to work out two really important things. First of all, what problem or struggle or need are you trying to meet from this audience? What is it that they want from a forest school session, from an outdoor leader? What do they want in their lives? What do they want their children to experience? So on. Number two is, where is that audience based? Where do they congregate? What do they consume in terms of content? Are they primarily on YouTube, email, certain Facebook groups, so on? So you've got to know what they want and where they are to be able to start acquiring your customers. And this is where a mismatch can arrive. If you are primarily marketing things in newspapers and your client base is Gen Z teenagers, then you're not going to reach them. This was exemplified by Wilderness Tribe, who I use as a great example of marketing. They went, okay, our target market, the group we're trying to reach is men over a certain age who are struggling with anxiety and mental health problems. And, well, where are they congregating and what are they doing? Well, they are typically really late at night to very, very early morning, and they are doom scrolling on Facebook or Instagram. So we'll run ads that target those particular people at those particular times. Creating something on a local parent and child group would not be the right choice here. So you can see why defining your audience is so important, because it really feeds down into everything else, feeds down into the choices. So once you know what people want and where they go. So a bit more on what people want. This is talking about, this is going deeper than just going, well, it's parents that want forest school. Is there a particular type of forest school? This also feeds into your particular skills. Like for me, my target audience is homemade families, and the thing that I offer that is different from all of the others is a heavy focus on tools and bushcraft skills and stuff for older kids. A bit more focused stuff. So that is my unique niche. And then everything that I put out is going to be based around that. You can also see it in the content I produce for forest school leaders and you guys. It's that going, okay, what are your biggest problems? What are the questions I see most often? One of the questions was, how do I set up? How do I set my rates? Where do I find a venue? And that's what this series is. It's me recognizing, first of all, what the problems are, and then secondly, putting it out in a way that you can find it. Forest school leaders and self-employed people in general don't tend to have very much time, so which is why I'm putting this out as a podcast as well. So you can listen while you're driving, while you're cleaning tarps, while you are doing something that doesn't require a lot of focus. You can listen to a podcast in the background. So this is why I put it out a certain way. You may not have the time to read a whole big blog post series, but you'll have time to listen to a podcast driving to your forest. So there I'm combining a specific need with a specific place to share about it. And where else do you see me talking about this and helping people? It's on Facebook groups, forest school Facebook groups, because that's where the majority of forest school leaders go to get resources, ideas, inspiration, is to a Facebook group. So having a presence there, helping people, that is then drawing people in. Which brings me to my next point on getting started with marketing. So once you've found where your audience is and what they need most, then this is your chance to start engaging with them. And I think the best phrase to remember here is dig the well before you're thirsty. Also popularized as give before you receive. It's the idea of giving value before you need to get something in return. And this is a core to the way I run my marketing, is there's this whole lot of free stuff. And if I was starting again from scratch and looking to reach my target audience of homemade families, the first thing I would do is I would put out a free guide or a free video series on top 3 activities for homemade families, and then I just put that out there, and then that starts raising my credibility within the group. It can be something, if you say you're marketing to schools, what sort of things are schools struggling with? And you could write a blog post on how forest school helps children who are normally quite disruptive in the class have an outlet during the week and therefore be able to focus more during the rest of the week. And you can start creating this connection, first of all, and secondly, you can start creating that professionalism, that reputation within the space. Because depending on who you going after as a target audience, you could really need to spend a lot of time networking as well. So going to events where they are, finding out their struggles, working out what you can do to help. Now this is a big area. I could go on for hours on this, and it's probably best if I get some people who are doing it really well onto the podcast to talk more about this. But sticking to the basics, start putting stuff out, start putting out inspiration, start putting out helpful tips and tricks and things out there. Start building an audience before you then need to go and ask them to join your course, to come out on a session. You need to be building the audience before you need it, because it's a big jump. It's taken me about 3, maybe 4 years to get to the point where the sessions I'm running are filled up regularly through word of mouth. More often than not, I've had to push and push and push. And now part of this is because what I'm trying to do here, I've made all the mistakes so that you don't have to. But expect it to take a year or two, depending on the audiences, to build up to capacity and build in a waiting list. Because schools come and go, families come and go, you need to have more people that want your services than you can offer in your capacity. So find out where your audience are at, discover their biggest needs and problems. Sometimes this might just mean sitting in a forum and just silently watching what's going by. What are the questions that are being asked? What are people really looking for? Talk to people, and then start building things, building content, building free guides, something to attract people in, because more and more we need to distinguish ourselves from the competition. A lot of people are talking about market saturation at the moment. This just means that you need to be the one that is up there on the marketing and making a name. I think I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Remember to make the most of every day, and I'll catch you all next time.